Welcome back to Get Down to Business. Super excited for this conversation. I'm joined by Issa Musharbash, who is the author of Go Back to Your Country. And Issa, you have a very interesting background. Welcome to the program. If you don't mind, tell our listeners briefly about yourself and where you're from.
Thank you, Shalom. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's an honor and privilege. I'm from the state of New Jersey and originally from Jordan. I was born in Amman, Jordan, and my parents immigrated here to the United States twice. The first time when I was younger, I graduated kindergarten here in Jersey City, New Jersey. Then through some drama, went back to Jordan and went back to my country. And for about 7 years, and then my mother, who's my hero, was able to come back to the United States and said her kids have to come here. And she was able to untangle herself from an arranged marriage and in the Middle East. And that's tough to begin with. And then still get full custody of her children and bring them back. And I was around the age of 12 with my siblings when we were reunited with our mother here in New Jersey.
Wow, what an incredible story. Again, I'm chatting with Issa Musharbash. So Issa, you are a successful businessman, and it was a natural that you would write a book. Again, you are the author of the book, Go Back to Your Country. But you are a successful businessman, and many people wanted you to write a business-related book. Why in the world did you choose a completely different route for your first book?
Well, it does connect to business because I do feel, I feel like, the word immigrant is getting a bad rap right now. And it has been for a number of years. But we don't realize that 40% of Fortune 500 companies are founded by immigrants or their children. It's astonishing. That if I put that into numbers, that's $6.1 trillion in revenue in the year 2018 alone. So when we look at immigrants, we can't just think of illegal immigrants or people that are hopping over a border to get here. There's people immigrate to America for economic reasons, for the opportunities, and immigrants in this country, for the most part, are contributing at an incredible level, providing jobs and opportunities, and really changing and changing the world around them. And America is a country of immigrants, and it's been built by immigrants. So that's why I wanted to take that angle and just tell my story of how I got here, and not give you the 12 steps to success just yet. Just how did we get here, and defy all the odds to make it here.
Absolutely. And Issa, you again, you wrote the book, and you really share a lot of the lessons learned that you certainly have sort of beaten the odds. And it's interesting because often we use the term dream. I know, Issa, you have dreamed a lot as a child. You had a dream of what you would become. So quite simply, have you become the version of yourself that you dreamed of when you were a child?
In some ways, I could tell you I've become someone who I've never even dreamed of. Like I'm living the life now that is way beyond my dreams. My biggest dream was to be a blessing to my mother and to make sure my children do not endure any hardship the way we had to endure hardship. And I have 3 of them, my 11-year-old, 8-year-old, and 3-year-old. They are like the most worry-free kids. They get to just be kids and just be, enjoy childhood and have everything they need. And that is, I've never really thought it would be at this level, but it's amazing. It's amazing to not have any economic worries, to provide your children with anything that they need, not to spoil them, but just to make sure they're not, they don't really have to face the unnecessary punishments of poverty. And you could make that here in America. Anyone could do this. If I have done this as an immigrant that was bullied coming in here, big nose, wrong clothing in high school, and being made fun of, yet still held on. Anyone that really wants to make it, Shalom, they can in the United States of America.
I know the book, Go Back to Your Country, is not just your story. It's really, it's a lesson, and it's a message for everybody. So we're going to squeeze in a quick break in a moment, but now as a published, writer, what is it that you hope for most from this publication? Tell us briefly who it's intended for and what the vision is.
Yeah, so I wrote the book originally for my children. I went on a mission to say, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow morning, what do I have to leave them? A nice financial legacy? No, I want to do something bigger and better than that, and I gotta tell them how I got here. It started off with that. It moved on during focus groups before it was released. The focus group was so impressed and so impacted, and people were crying, and I was started to see people seeing their own story through my book. And that's when I said, okay, I think we have something here that we want to expand that impact from my immediate children to my colleagues, to my network, and now to anyone. And it's been a story that people identify with. They read my book, but they're really reading their own story.
Well, I can tell you unequivocally that there's no question that you are sharing a message, lessons learned, and we're going to continue that conversation with the author of Go Back to Your Country, Issa Musharbash. And Issa, we'll talk more about your personal experiences in just a moment when we return on Get Down to Business.
You got it.
Welcome back to Get Down to Business, and be sure to check out our sponsors of the program, the amazing team at Chicago Signature Limo and Health Plan Chicago, Tom Mirabali. Some great resources, but I'm rejoined by Issa Musharbash, who's the author of Go Back to Your Country. And Issa, you share your own story. It's almost a lesson to your family, but really lots of lessons in business entrepreneurship. So it's writing, I know from personal experience, can be such an emotional, stressful pursuit. How do you cope actually while running your business and as a husband and a father of three? Tell us a little bit just about the writing experience and getting the thoughts out of your head and onto paper, and now shared, of course, with the business and overall communities.
Yeah, I mean, I run 3 to 4 companies that need day-to-day attention, and of course, building an empire called family. But how do you do a book? It took me 3 years. It took me bringing on a team, particularly starting with a transcriber. You need someone that you could just call like a friend and just tell your stories for an hour during your lunch break, and then have them transcribe it. So they'll record the phone call, transcribe it, send it to you to speed your process up a little bit. Sometimes, you want to sit and start typing, but for someone who's a communicator, I'm constantly speaking and telling stories and seminars and events. It was much easier for me to just get on the phone and just tell my story, and then have someone all the work. It's my story. I'm speaking it. They're transcribing it, sending it to me, and now I'm working with something that's already it's already written up, and I'm changing it, and I'm editing it, and I spend time on it. But for anybody who's busy, but they have a story and they have a message, I want to encourage them to go out and be the person that's going to write the book, and it's going to require a team. Bring on a trusted team and do it. That's how I did it.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And I have a feeling there will be many more books to follow from you, Issa. But my last question for you is just if you were able to sort of go back and tell yourself, your younger, struggling self, anything, what would it be? And I know that some of this is in the book, which we'll, of course, send our audience to. But what's that lesson to that younger Issa Musharbash?
Yeah, I actually, that's such a good question, because I actually wrote a letter to my 12-year-old self, this 12-year-old boy who comes to the United States. He gets a job working for a mean boss, underage, under minimum wage. He gets beat up. by a bunch of kids. He was told to go back to his country, but the United States was in fact his country. So he was confused through those first couple of years trying to assimilate in the United States. I would tell him that stay the course, embrace the faith that your mother has been instilling in you, and love people and forgive those that hurt you. No matter how many times they want to hurt you, they usually, what they do is they're rejecting you and they're hurting you out of ignorance, not out of truth. Because if people knew, Shalom, if they knew who you were, where you've been, and where you're going, they would not have that perception of you.
Well, there's a lesson for everybody with this book for sure. And I want to make sure our listeners know where they can find it. Issa, where can people purchase a copy and learn more about you?
Yes, gobacktoyourcountry.com. That's gobacktoyourcountry.com. That's my author page. You could order the book there, but you could also get more info about me, the companies that I run, the things that I do. Connect with me on social media through that website. Also, the book is available on every platform. It's on Amazon and all the other book sites.
Well, congratulations to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. That will be a wrap for us here and Get Down to Business. Be sure to visit our website, shalomklein.com, where you can download podcasts from the past 7+ years of shows all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. So, to success. Let's get down to business.